Hi everyone, how you doing? Well, I really appreciate all my new subscribers. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your comments. I love them and I appreciate all your opinions and everything people have to say about Summerwell's case. Because I'm always wanting to learn more, and if you have information that you think I should know or have, please share it with me because, I don't know everything and I'm just like the rest of you, only, I wanted to start a channel and talk about Summer Wells. I'm not monetized and I just care about her, and so that's what I'm here for. So anyways, you guys, I don't want to talk about any drama or any crap going on because I don't care, okay? But here's what I do want to say about this, because I guess this is a little bit of drama. I don't know. But I can't stand it when defenders of the parents of Summer Wells want to argue with everybody all the time about, oh, well, Summer Wells was not abused, was not neglected, was not SA'd, and maybe she wasn't SA'd, but we know a lot of other things that happened to Summer Wells. So I get really irritated with that, you guys. I guess I just get irritated with the defenders of the Wells because it just seems like it's ridiculous that it just goes on and on. But, I'm here, and I guess people could say the same thing about me because I'm not a defender of the Wells, sorry. There's something going on with those two parents, and they know what's going on. But I wanted to talk to you since all these defenders, I hope you'll share this video with these defenders of the Wells. Please share my video with them. Put it on your community posts. Put their name, tag their name in the video. Whoever you think needs to hear this. But I'm saying to you that I am tired of all these crazy people wanting to run to the aid of the Wells when we don't even know they may have done something terrible to Summer. And yes, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. But, we can see signs of neglect. We can see signs of abuse. We're not stupid. None of us are. We can recognize signs of abuse in a child. And, I'm sorry, I have heard people argue and say, don't put that on that baby. Well, the parents have put a really lot of bad things on this baby. And they have said a lot of nasty things. And the boys, too. And people, someone saying to me in my comment section, well, the boys would not like to see a video like this, really, and hear these things, well, guess what? Them boys in Summer endured a lot more than people even understand. And I want to show you some videos tonight. I want to just kind of put them all together and show you something here. But, I believe that Summer was abused very badly, and I believe that CPS was opening a case and not closing a case. I believe that someone reported them. It could be, I heard that the school reported Candace for beating the crap out of Summer in the school parking lot. Now, this is what I heard, in a comment. But what I'm going to say is, you know, we don't know. This is allegedly. But, you know, that's pretty serious if a school, because the school reported Candace supposedly to the Department of Child Protective Services. And so they could have been very well opening a case, even though Don, you know, he tries to paint him and Candace as these wonderful people, and that, you know, they wouldn't have any kind of bad thing. Just like he said that he had CPS remove his children, well, for safety reasons. Well, if that's the case, then you would already had him backed on, so quit lying. But I'm just going to go over a few things to put them together, and you can leave your comments and tell me what your judgment is and what your theory or whatever you feel about these clips that I'm going to show you under fair use and copyright laws. I'm only going to show you a portion of these people and these creators' videos because I think they're very, very important. I appreciate every one of these creators who took the time to do this, because now we have them as, you know, evidence, as documentation for this case. So, you know, to go back and look at. But anyways, I think all these creators are really good. I think you should subscribe to them. I'll tell you their names here in a minute. But I want to show you and discuss these things. So, I'm going to come up here for a minute. I just want you to see. This was somebody who I didn't even get to see Lip's video yet. I want to check it out. But look at this little precious Summer Wells. And look at how bad she looked. I don't care. I think she looks bad in that picture, even though she's adorable. But this, I felt like, was a really good video that Chris McDonough did at the interview room. And it's called Summer Wells Case, A Critical Time Frame, the interview room. And so I just want to go over a little bit about this. And I want you to watch this. I thought it was so good. You probably might have seen it, but I think it's good to remember this, you guys. Okay, hold on here.
How can we deliver energy to a world?
Of course, you know, we gotta have our commercial, so. Okay.
Answer is yes.
Okay. No, not yet. Okay.
Then those
Hold on.
pictures could
Get it to the right spot.
you know, I've seen parents do that. Okay,
Hold
not
on.
on.
I gotta get to the right spot. I thought I was there. I'm not there. Oh, I think it's all the way to the beginning. That's why I'm going way too far. No, it's not that way either. Hold on. I know, you guys. I'm not very good at this, am I? I'll get there. But, you know, I notice people sit and talk, and they don't even show pictures, and they don't even show anything. So I'm only sharing with you these other creators. Really excellent work. So
Is that between
I gotta find this. It's really good. Well, I mean, it's really important. It's not really good, but it's really important. I think so. Ow, ow. What the heck? Dang it. So anyways, if I can ever find my spot, you know, I get people go on not prayer garden, people go on Miss Daisy's channel, right? And they get attacked if they even say anything. If they even make a comment in her chat, they get attacked. Okay, I found it good. Thank God, because it's taken me forever. Almost there. Okay, so listen, we're at the 33:55 mark. And so let's watch this for just a minute. It's Chris and his wife Karen. And please subscribe if you haven't. But watch this.
And so let's kind of think about how that could be. So Dill, let's go to the photographs. All right, now, a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation all over YouTube about these types of photos in the back seat. Right? Could that be a subdural hematoma, i.e. bleeding just underneath, near the scalp? Okay? I'm not a medical doctor, nor am I an ME. Okay? But is that shading?
No.
Is it bruising?
I believe it's a bruise.
It's interesting. Let's just say that it's interesting.
See,
let's go to the next one.
Everybody notices this. Okay.
This one is really alarming because you can clearly, it appears, unless somebody has mocked this photo up, okay. And God forbid if you did that to this little girl, in terms of somebody mock this photo up. Okay? Shame on you if you did. Okay? If you didn't, then this is a very alarming photograph. Because if you look in the upper right temple area, that is the same area that we see potentially in the car. Okay, let's go.
Look at the black ear. This one is
this
bad.
Is a school photo that I
Sunday
do not know
school, Sabbath school.
This is also somebody was playing games on the internet.
No, somebody doctored him to look better. Look at that black eye.
If it isn't, it's horrible. Next. If you look on the left or facing you, the right cheek area, okay, I've seen that before.
Yep. Looks like a big slap.
That could be a slap. And children, as we all know, will bruise very quickly. Okay? I hope it's not photoshopped.
No.
If it is, shame on you for doing
You're going to Photoshop bruises? I don't think so.
Okay. This is about a 5-year-old little girl. Okay, next. Here you see the same picture from a different angle. Now, if this is a Photoshop, they went through a lot of work to get every one of these photos lined up. Okay? So we're just going to let that sit. I think that's the last one, right, Dill? And there are many others, okay? But those are very potentially alarming towards a non-abduction theory, an accident theory, for me. If it's an accident theory, then those pictures could play a role. I went down that stairwell, and if Summer had gone down that stairwell, could she have fallen? In my opinion, the answer is yes.
Well, yeah. Yes, she could. Okay, so Chris had some interesting pictures there. And I just want to say that a lot of people have noticed the same exact things on Summer's face, and they were instantly drawn to certain areas because it does look bad. But anyways, that was called Summer Wells' case, a critical time frame, the interview room. Okay, so I'm just going to move on from there, and I want to show you some other things. Okay, let's go up here. This lady.
So as usual, I have a little process where I take the screen grab from the internet on a little.
Okay, so this lady, her channel's name VOC Crime and Celebrity News, I guess. But anyways, she is pretty dang good. But she takes these photos. She took these photos of Summer, and she used different lights so that you could see certain things. And I want you to see this. Under fair use, I'm just going to use a portion of this. But I'm going to use portions of this, but I'm going to discuss it with you, okay? Hold on.
Concerned that it's not a very high resolution picture, and so this could give some misleading results. That's a disclaimer there. And what I did was I took the picture and I fiddled a bit with the contrast and the resolution and tried to determine whether there was bruising or just natural shadow.
I want to turn it up a little bit for you.
Then I took another picture of a child's knee that was bruised. I didn't want to use a face because honestly the other comparable images of children with bruised faces were just too distressing. So I chose a knee.
She didn't know if these are shadows
so a child's
or unexplained
than a child's face. But I wanted to show you how a bruise, how a real bruise doesn't change when you alter the contrast, the temperature of a painting, of a picture to enhance it. The bruise will still stay cool and bluey or green, whereas a shadow will become warmer and redder. So that's what I wanted to illustrate. So let's take a look at the original picture of Summer. So here's the original picture, and I tried to enhance the resolution on this. It didn't really work that well because if anybody's got a better resolution picture, please send it to me. But this is the best I had. Now, then I enhanced it. I was already concerned by this mark on the top of her head by her temple,
Everybody
her ear
is.
and hairline. Then I enhanced it, and you can see now it's much darker and it's blacker. Now, considering the light source is coming from the car windows, which is from either side of her and above, then I'm concerned that that mark is there. So as you can see, the light source is coming from the two windows and above. This is possibly shadow where she's on the milk, although I'm even quite concerned about that because it would normally be a little bit bleached by a reflection from the milk bottles, which are white. But this one here, that I've circled in pink, I can't see why that would be there in the full glare of the light.
Nope.
It seems very black.
It looks like Summer really took a traumatic head injury there.
And you can see the crease between where the two legs meet and where it meets the bottom. There's this shadow here.
Yeah, she's showing a shadow here.
And then where I've circled in red, the centre of the bruise, the harshest part of the bruise, is obviously that very bluey blood. It's a blood colour. And then you have the shadow where the legs join, and it's kind of obviously darker, and it could look
But you can
similar to
see
bruising in colour,
this
which is why
here,
you have the
up here,
issue of trying to work out if something's
along
a
the
shadow
edge
or
too.
a bruise. Then the very centre of the bruise is a bluey, much bluer colour. So what I did here was I turned up the temperature, because what happens when you turn up the temperature and you make the picture warmer is that the shadows turn redder and warmer, they stay warm, but the bruise stays bluey or greeny and cool. So here you can see the shadow between the legs, which is not a bruise, is a nice warm, rich red brown, but the bruise itself has stayed quite blue and black. And that's because it's blood underneath the skin. And then you can see the richness of the shadow here is a nice warm, reddy brown, and again where the leg meets the, whatever she's lying on, the towel or blanket below. But the bruise has definitely stayed a bluey purple, a cool tone, what we would call a cool tone. So I thought we'd do the same with Summer's face. I did a close-up there of her face, and we can mark up. This was the cause of particular concern for me.
For me too.
But mainly
It's a
the top,
particular
because the
concern
light is
for
on
me.
here, so I can't see why there would be any shadow right there.
And for a retired police officer, investigator,
both windows
detective.
At both angles, so technically there shouldn't be any shadow there. You can see how white her hair is, and how white her cheek and her forehead is where the light is hitting it. So I'm not sure why this is bruised here. Let's turn up the contrast.
It really does.
So turn up the redness.
Look like she had it.
The warmth tone. You can see that the bruise.
Something bad happened to Summer.
There. Well, I say bruise, obviously I'm no expert, but it hasn't warmed. So you can see the shadow. See the shadow around her neck where her coat meets, covers her neck slightly. You can see how red the shadow is. See the shadows on her hair? They're more red and warm. The shadows on her near the milk bottle, I think, are still warm. They don't necessarily look like bruises, although I'm still
They look like it
not
to
sure
me.
about those. I think they're just warm tones. But this one on the top of her head, which I was most concerned about, has stayed green. So I would suggest that is a bruise. And here is the photo with the contrast. So it's the darker darks and lighter lights. And you can see how this dark here has gone, really quite blackened. But on its own, you can't tell, because also if you look at her hair,
Look at her
there are
ear.
some black marks. So the contrast doesn't tell you as much. When you
Her
add the
ear
warm,
there, her
warm
head.
tone, when you increase the warm tone of the picture, then I think you get a clearer picture
Look
of
at
whether
that
it's a
ear.
bruise or just a dark shadow. Alright, so let's just increase that warmth tone one more time and have a close look at that mark on her head. And while we just play through that video, rerun it, what concerns me most, if that is a bruise, is that a bruise in that part of the head can actually kill someone outright. An injury, say a punch. It's a very dangerous part of the head to
Yes, it is.
bash someone or be bashed. And so there we are again, increase the warmth, and you can see the warmer shadows. So in her hair where we had the black before, you can
Okay.
see now it's a reddy, a very dark,
Okay, she went through that, but you guys, to me,
warm colour.
it's interesting when she changes the light, how bad it really was. So anyways, we're just going to go back here. This really, really bugged me. And I'm going to say it again. Hold on. Make sure. So, I don't know if you've ever subscribed to Aaron Mall, but I think he does an excellent job with his videos. He hasn't been doing any really about Summer Wells, but he's doing them about other things. He actually got on a documentary, so he's really good at this stuff. But anyways, he this video is called Candace Explain This video versus the photo. And this is very important, and I think you should hear this. Hold on. Of course, you know, there you go, commercial, okay.
Macro impact, go micro. Revlon Color Stay Micro Eye.
Grandma in the reflection, or the person
Okay, hold
taking
on,
the
watch
photo,
this.
or whatever it is. I'm not seeing that. If we go
Okay.
to the video, the red tote doesn't appear to look the same in the video. So whatever this is in the back maybe was shifted or moved and is now less in focus. But let me know what you guys think down below. I do not think that this is an arm. This looks like a piece of wood behind
It
the
is a
seat.
piece of wood.
And of course, this is a box here. A lot of people thought for a while this looks like an arm of somebody resting behind the seat. I don't think that. What we have with the video, and I'm going to compare and show you guys why I'm almost 100% sure that the photos that we just looked at and lined up are not stills from the video that we're seeing now. If we line this photo up next to the video, look at her fingers. This is a screen grab right here of the first frame of the video of Summer in the backseat. Her fingers appear to almost overlap her pink hoodie. And the photo, her hand appears to be several inches down away from her hoodie. So on the right side of the screen now, and I'll make myself a little bit smaller here, even though it's not super in the way. This is the photo, the first known photo that was released, like I said, that was taken of the phone. There's a gap, a substantial gap, like a 3-inch, maybe 4-inch gap between her fingers and the edge of her jacket. And then the first frame of the video, it's very obvious and clear. There's not a single frame in the video of Summer Wells, which like I said is here on the left, that shows her hand moved down below, further away from her jacket. The photos are taken separately, and why that's important is multiple photos were taken of Summer Wells that day, and a video. Why they were taking photos of Summer and then felt the need to take also a video on the way back home is beyond me. It's not just because her hands were up like Dawn would sleep. I don't buy that in the slightest. This is just me lining up a couple of different photos of her hands.
Did you hear that? What Aaron said? Because he looked at all these photos, and you should go watch this whole video. But he looked at these, and he said that multiple pictures were taken and the video. And why would you need to do that? What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to document something, prove something? Very strange, don't you think, you guys? Okay, listen.
To see, everything seems to line up pretty well here. We just have obviously a lower resolution version. I'm just taking different images that I see on the internet and really trying to layer them to make sure that we don't have huge discrepancies in the photos. But the biggest thing is knowing that those photos are separate than the video. They're not screen grabs from the video. Okay, so here what we're doing is taking the first second of the video of Summer Wells in the back seat.
And you can see how
we're stabilizing
much
it.
shaky.
So this is a stabilized version of that video, and it's slowed down. If I rewind again and show you, the actual original video is shaking quite a bit. This is
the vehicle is shaking really bad.
Stabilized. And this is, like I said, the stabilized, slowed down. Obviously, when you stabilize footage like this, this is also me showing you that in the editor, I scrubbed through the stabilized video. But keep in mind, when you stabilize video like this in different software, you will get weird abnormalities that start to happen with the video. One of which is this area on her head. It almost appears like her head is moving around, if you can see that clearly. And so take this slowed down, stabilized video with a small grain of salt, and just know that if you see
her head shaking from the
legs moving, for example,
the vehicle shaking.
Stabilized video, the edges of the frame will kind of shake. But what I was really trying to do here is look at things like her shoulder and the edge of her arm to compare with the background of the video, which is very dark. Something that we can kind of see is if there was movement other than just maybe her kind of moving in the back of the car. I'm really looking to see if any breath is happening here when I scrub through the stabilized photo, or the stabilized video. And let me know what you guys think. Do you see any sort of an exhale here? Obviously,
No.
we talked about this on my live stream. We're looking at 1 second of footage, which is the very only second we have that we can stabilize before Grandma turns the phone away from Summer. And so it's really not enough time to see like an exhale or a full breath in to see any sort of chest movement. So I don't know what you guys think. I'm not seeing much movement at all. I was hoping to maybe see, can we see the later part of an exhale, for example, where you're seeing maybe the chest kind of sink in a little bit, because like I said, it's such a short amount of time that we're looking at and trying to like dive into.
She looks
but I don't
deceased
think
to me
there's
in
enough
that.
there to
I'm
really
sorry.
determine any sort of movement from Summer. And once again, they're going down the back roads of Tennessee, and
bumpy.
anyone would move a little bit even if you are just asleep. So it's a tough question, but I've asked it in some polls on my live streams. But what are your guys' thoughts on Summer in the back seat? I get so many people messaging me all the time about the different color that she appears to be with her fingers and or her nail beds, not toes. I'm gonna take this image and these grainy videos with a grain of salt, and say that there may be shadows happening. Like, I'm not gonna read too much into the fingers because
So anyways, I just wanted to show you that he showed that there was more than one. There was a few pictures taken, okay? So, and why? What are you doing here? Hold on. I want you to really see this other one. Common Sense True Crime. She, if you haven't subscribed to Common Sense True Crime, she's awesome. But she showed a lot of Summer's bruises, and she brought it up. Hold on.
Some rides are safe for your big kid.
Oops, sorry.
This picture here is of Summer. I'm not sure exactly where it came from, but Benny Keys was showing it on his live either last night or the night before. She has a black eye. That's pretty clear to see. What Benny is saying along with this picture is that he never saw anything like this. He didn't have any indication that her parents had abused Summer. Let me remind you, Benny, some pictures have been out the whole time that when you were just making all your cash and all your gangs, you ignored and supported her family that abused her. So it's a little bit too late to get on that bandwagon of poor Summer, she was abused, because you ignored it for 9 months. Here's a video I made with some thoughts on the bruises that I saw in Summer's pictures. The problems here with the pictures, but I'll learn more as I go. This is a picture of Summer on a flyer when she first went missing.
With lipstick on, that they decorated and did filters.
But that's not the truth. That's the truth. This is pictures of her with bruising on her face. It's actually the same exact picture. They had to Photoshop this out to get the stunning picture that we just saw for the flyer. Here's another one where she has bruising on the sides of her face and around her chin. It looks like the imprint of a muzzle of some kind. There's 2 strap-looking bruises right there on the side, on the right side of the screen of her face. Let's see, this is Also, around her chin, you can see it real good, the bruising. There's another picture, and you can see almost like a strap on her close cheek closest to the photo. And then this is where the Wells website says that we can use only approved pictures to get Summer's name out there. And wouldn't you know it, the approved pictures don't have any of the bruising in them, or if they do, they've been photoshopped out, just like that first one I showed you. So something definitely going wrong here. They're covering up abuse. I believe Summer was very much abused. There's no telling what this child has seen, and I'm going to keep working on this.
Also, she did another one too, and you should check that out. But, let's see here. There was another one that I thought was so interesting. You know, this lady, she talked about these puncture wounds and bite marks. She called them bite marks.
I'm just having a close-up of
This is the VOC Crime and Celebrity channel again, but it's called Slashes and Puncture Wounds, Summer Wells Unexplained Facial Marks. But I just want you just to see something for a minute here, and we'll talk about it.
Wells. I don't want to read too much into some of them because kids bruise easily all the time. She's very pale skinned, which makes her look bruised in certain lights when in fact she's not even bruised at all. The first things that struck me before the bruising was how dirty she was often. Again, not unusual in kids. But when I did do a little bit more looking into this, I thought she was dirty in a lot of the pictures, especially around her face. And then I did come across this article, which I thought could be worth bearing in mind. I was also in two minds about doing this video just because of the number of times kids are covered in bruises and have accidents. It's quite a difficult one because, you know, normal, healthy, really happy, loved, well looked after kids get bruises all over their bodies.
Yeah, right.
So I was in two minds, but then when I get to the final photograph, I thought, no, I am going to post this video because I can't explain these marks. So let's just start with the first photographs. So this is a screen grab straight from the internet, and it's Summer outside in natural daylight. Now the next photo is where I've enhanced the contrast to see if there's any bruising. Pale skinned children tend to have thinner skin, so there looks like there's bruising where there isn't. So what we have here is the light source above her, and these darker areas on her face are just shadows. And they are in all the usual natural places that you would find the darker shadows, especially on a fair-skinned child. Because the light source is above her, what stands out then is this mark here, because it's sitting on a plane of her skin that's catching the light, and so there shouldn't be any shadow there at all, and yet there is this dark circular mark. It's not clear enough to see what the mark is, but I did wonder if it was a bite mark, but it could be also the result of some completely explicable bruise or injury. However, it is definitely there. Just place it now side by side with the original photo, and you can see the mark there. I mean, I don't want to speculate as to what that could be. It could be an insect bite, it could be anything, but it's definitely there. Okay, so let's look at the next picture. Right, this next picture again, this is the undoctored photo straight from the internet, in the natural daylight there, and this time the light source is above, but maybe just slanting slightly, so you can see the slant of the shadow under her neck there.
And on her nose, you can see the light on her nose.
Setting. Well, it's not setting yet, it's still broad daylight, but you know what I mean, the sun is at an angle there. And so in this photo I've increased the contrast again, and you can see unusual marks that are, you know, quite prominent even in the light. Her right arm to the left of the screen. I mean, to be fair, I thought these could look like birthmarks, but also they do look a lot like bruises. For an active child like Summer, I'm not sure really how significant that is. I think an expert would be required to determine if they were as a result of being grabbed or punched or something. And I'll just put the photo beside the original so that you can see there. They're just fading. They are undoubtedly bruises and they are not shadows. Kids with bruises, again, not big news, but I suppose it depends
Looks like
how often they have them.
finger marks, like somebody grabbed her by the arm.
I was thinking I might not post this video because I really don't want to make something out of a kid having bruises, honestly, really. Because then we will all be in trouble with the police and be gossiped about. But it was the final picture that made me think, okay, I am going to post this and see what you all think. Alright, this is the final picture just taken off the internet right there. And this is the natural light, so the light is obviously coming in through the window. So most of her face is actual in shadow, but there's obviously artificial light from the cafe or restaurant on her face. See straight away she had some markings. That little one under her eye was the most noticeable. So again, I increased the contrast and I zoomed in, and that's when things got more interesting and more disturbing. The main focus is around her mouth and her neck. And now we're not just talking about bruising, we're talking about puncture wounds and cuts. And puncture wounds and cuts are very different to bruises. I mean, any parent knows that you would treat a puncture wound differently to a bruise, superficial bruise, because you're talking infections, wounds, and whatever happened to cause a puncture wound is going to cause a parent
It could be
concern.
by her
Say,
puppies,
you know, swinging on the tree,
or the cat,
trunk of the tree,
because it could be the puppy biting her
Now,
chin.
there were also bruises here and cuts on her face. So I thought we'd isolate them out and look at them separately.
But
So here we have bruising just under the lip there. It's blackened, and on the jaw there, they're blackened areas where obviously the puncture wound or the injury has caused also bruising as well as a hole. And then there's this dreadful mark on the neck, this cut all along the neck, like a long scratch or cut. I can't see how that could just be an accidental
could be a puppy scratch,
but, I mean, obviously
cat scratch.
And around it you can see the area is bruised but also still quite angry.
But when she shows you something else, it looks weird.
Natural colour. Now then, what's interesting about this photo that I've marked up here is that by accident I marked up the original photograph. So this isn't even the enhanced photograph. And you can still see how bad these markings are. Now don't forget, the light is behind her as well. So what you're seeing is some really bad wounds. Now, if you've got those in natural daylight, I can't imagine how bad they would look. No, you don't get wounds like this, stumbling about, falling over in your backyard, or, you know, falling off your swing and bumping into the tree trunk. Bruises and puncture wounds. So let's just take a look at the puncture wounds. They're circular. So I'm thinking,
Which is weird.
I thought it could be dogs, but then dogs don't tend to have a circular bite
No,
mark. I don't
not
know.
in a round one.
Dog bite. I'm not sure. You see where the bruises.
It's kind of weird that it's that round.
Next to that kind of looks like two front teeth. And then you've got this sort of mark and all this bruising here on her jaw and on her chin.
It could be a dog.
What is that mark there? What on earth could cause that? I had a similar injury on my legs when I was a child because I ran into a park in the dark, and the park had a little
I'm just going to
wire.
go a little bit farther.
Right, because I, as a parent to another parent, kids, and I can't stand when parents judge parents for things that are completely just natural accidents with children. But the face one, that last one with the punctures, circular punctures, and this slash on the throat. Let me know what you...
Anyways, you guys, I was just wanting to show you all these bruise marks, okay? But, and there's a lot of different videos that you can go look at. But, this is the video that I hope you'll go and watch, because it is just, I think she did a good job, and her name is Spirit Seeker Squad, and we're just going to go through a little bit of it under fair use. I love this girl. She does a great job. So listen to this.
Summer was photographed with and who seemed to be in the company.
Sorry, I got the wrong one. Okay.
Video. The video was taken while driving, and the picture was taken when they were stopped and the tailgate was open. In the last 11 months, there has been so many rumors and speculation over these milk images. I'm going to show every detail that I have seen and noticed and hopefully clear some rumors up. I'm going to show differences between the video and the picture. So let's start with the video. It's only 7 seconds long, and it starts out with the camera aimed at Summer Wells and then pans to Candace driving, and then it ends. Thanks to the channel True Crime Rocket
This is
Science,
good. Listen, watch.
who shared the location where they were when this video was taken just by seeing the landmarks in the video. There was a local that is associated with True Crime Rocket Science. He drove to the location and sent pictures of the exact location and the landmarks. Candace and her mother and Summer, allegedly, during this video, they were only 9 minutes away from
She
their
said a
home
couple minutes,
at
2
110
minutes.
Ben Hill Road in Rogersville, Tennessee. You'll see in this video, Summer's hands are both touching her right leg. You might ask, why is this important, Mandy? Well, because in the picture, Summer's right hand is on the seat due to time and gravity, I believe, which caused it to move. Now, this leads me to believe that the video was done first before the picture. As for the other things that first stuck out to me during this 7-second video, let's go ahead and review
Watch
them.
this.
Starting with this freeze frame, only 1 second into this 7-second video.
Well, of course. Hold on. I think this is really important. Watch.
7-second video. So we're going to start with the most obvious of Summer being on this milk. In my opinion, it looks like Summer was placed in this position. It doesn't look like she climbed in here herself and put her own seatbelt on and then fell asleep. I say this for a few reasons. First, look at the position where Summer's bottom is on the seat. If we rotate the picture, it's easier to see. You'll see her bottom is on the line between the middle seat and the seat by the door. And this is behind the driver's side. The doors on the driver's side open like French doors. So if someone placed Summer here in the middle seat, if they held her like a baby and leaned in as far as they could reach, this line is about where her bottom would be. Let me know what you think about this in your comment. Next, let's look at the hood of Summer Wells' jacket and her seatbelt. When she was placed in this spot, her seatbelt was put on, but they moved her shoulder belt behind her to lay her on the milk gallons. Her hood was pulled out from behind her, and it's laying on her left shoulder, which supports my theory of someone leaning in from the driver's side and placing her here. In all of the pictures, of Summer Wells in a vehicle, she never has her shoulder belt behind her. Never. Even in the videos of her in a vehicle, she has the shoulder belt in front of her. She's never in a booster seat of any kind that I can see, but she always has her seatbelt on her. Now, let's look down in the bottom right corner of this same freeze frame from this video. If we zoom in, you can see it looks like something white is leaning on Summer's left leg. Is this the pillow that Hunter was talking about when he said that Summer was wet, so she sat on the pillow by the door? Let me know what you think in your comment.
I don't know what that is.
Next, let's take a look at the lap belt. If we zoom in on that, you'll see this reddish brown stain that is halfway covered by the lap belt. This looks like blood to me.
Looks like
on
it to me
Summer's
too.
jacket. It doesn't look like Summer spilled her orange drink.
No, because
on the seat beside her
it's
in
leaking
this spot
up into this
because it's not an
seatbelt,
orangish color
and it's dripping.
or even orangish looking. Blood is the only liquid that this looks like to me, in my opinion. Allegedly. We'll look at this again in the picture. Let's slide on over here to Summer's left hand, or really her jacket sleeve. See how low her sleeve is on her hand? Does that look like normal placement for a 5-year-old's jacket to be? I would assume that if she had a jacket on that the sleeves were a little bit too long, that her being active and moving around would move the sleeve up on her wrist. It looks like somebody put that jacket on her when she was asleep or not conscious or not alive, possibly. Whew. Either way, that sleeve looks low on her hand, in my opinion. What do you think about that? We'll come back and take a closer look at Summer's hands in the picture also. So let's slide over here to the empty seat to the right of Summer, which
She thinks that's a cell phone. And people argued with me that that's not a cell phone. That is the seat buckle.
part we can see. Is this a cell phone?
I don't know, but
I know that I'm sharing a ton of information
Hold on
in this
here.
video.
okay.
I know that I'm sharing a
The new
Boy, a lot of commercials, huh?
Cappuccino Blast are here to make your ice cream dreams come true. With more.
That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
Now earlier I told you that I'd show you some differences between the video and the picture. So let's do that now. But let's discuss similarities and differences. I have the freeze frame of the very first second of the video on the left side of the screen and the picture on the right side. I have my settings set to show you the most clear, sharply defined images that I can get here. If your screen is blurry at all, touch on the gear in the top right hand side of your screen if you're on a mobile device, or click on the gear at the bottom of the picture on any other device. You'll see the option for quality. Select that, then select advanced and pick the highest number option that it says. This can be done on any video that you watch on YouTube so that you can watch the clearest picture possible. Okay, so first off, the most obvious similarity that most might overlook is the angle that the camera is during both the video and the picture.
Yeah.
You can see that I have both images turned so that the top of the back seat is level. This tells me that both were taken by the same person sitting in the passenger side seat. But I also know that they were definitely taken at different times.
You hear that?
Like I said earlier, the video was obviously taken while they were driving, and True Crime Rocket Science Channel had a local use the landmarks to determine the exact location that the video was taken. Candace was driving past Mural Road while they were on Lone Star Road, allegedly on their way home, maybe at 3:09 p.m. Let me show you how I know that they didn't go straight home. As we've already discussed, we can tell that Summer's hand has moved. In the video, her hand is somewhat up on her right leg, but in the picture, we can tell that gravity and probably bumps from driving has made her hand fall to the seat. So let's look at the seat first. To the right of Summer in the video, we see that the seat is dark with no sunlight on it. But in the picture, we can see sunlight shining on the back seat. This means that the sun is not directly above them. This can help us determine a time frame and what direction the truck is facing. It's well known that the sun always rises in the east and always sets in the west. According to this graph, the sun would be between 3 and 5 p.m. for it to shine in this side window and hit the seat, no matter if the door was open or not. It also means that the truck is facing north to northwest since the sun sets in the west. According to the location in this video, they would have been traveling southwest, putting the sun in front of them and more on the passenger side, not the driver's side. Now let me show you how I know that they are not stopped at the Wells house at 110 Ben Hill Road. If we zoom in on the back window of the video, we can see part of the red taupe, which we can also see in the picture, but in the picture, we see more of the back window area. Now, I've noticed on my Android phone, when I turn my camera on, the picture frame is a larger area than my video frame on the factory settings. So this part makes sense to me. If you have an Android, try it out. Open your camera app, aim your phone at an item, slide it over to the video option, and you should see the area get smaller. Anyway, you can see just part of the red taupe in the video. It looks like the sun is on the passenger side also.
Yep.
Now remember, this is Grandma Candy's truck.
This is the picture.
And she had a camper shell on the bed of it.
I don't know how any light shines with those tinted windows.
There is a gap between the back window on the truck and the window on the front of the shell. You can see these examples that I found here. It looks like the sun is shining in the gap between the back of the actual truck and the front part of the shell here, between the two windows. There's also a window at the back of the shell. If we look at the picture, we can see the two windows and the red tote. If we look past the red tote on the left side of the screen, we can see a blue trash tote. If we look to the right of the red tote, we can see that the tailgate is down and the window is up. I can tell due to the bushes that you can see here. If you look closely, you can even see the cord or wire that holds the tailgate in place when it's open. So how do I know that this picture was not taken on Ben Hill Road? Check out these aerial pictures of the Wells property around their house. Now, all of these have been taken since June 15th, 2021. Remember that blue trash tote that we saw out of the back of the truck in the picture? Well, there is not any blue trash totes on the Wells property. So where were they when this picture was taken between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. and when the truck was facing north or northwest? Leave another comment and let me know where you think they could be. Is this a possible place where Candace handed Summer over to someone? Tell me your thoughts. Okay, let's go back to comparing the video and the picture. When we look behind the seat in both images, we can see a piece of wood sticking up.
Okay, I'm going to go
We can
past
see
this
the
now.
end.
Isn't that interesting, you guys? Because they figured out that she was going a different direction by the sun, by the sunlight, and True Crime Rocket scientists showed how she was going a different direction. And so I just thought that was really interesting. But she talks about the temperature of the milk, how it's not perspirating. But watch this part for a minute.
Mint Mobile Unlimited.
Hold on.
Ready to get 30, 30, ready to get 20, 20, 15, 15, just $15 a month. Sold.
Oh,
To Summer herself. This could be triggering for some because I'm going to look at every detail that I've seen myself and some things that you all have pointed out also. So let's start right here by this top milk gallon with Summer Wells' right ear. Her right ear looks to be very
black.
purplish blue, like a bruise, a new, fresh bruise. Now, most of us have had a bruise at least once in our life. What is a bruise, medically speaking? Healthgrades.com says a bruise involves small blood vessels of skin, muscle, or bone. A hematoma is a buildup of blood that can occur near the skin. A hematoma is worse than a bruise. Auricular hematoma is bruising or swelling seen over the earlobes. MedicineNet.com says physical trauma is the most common cause of auricular hematoma. Going back to elementary health class, we learned that skin is one of the largest organs in the human body, due to skin being on every...
Okay, hold on. But look at how these are
the same for everyone. So these two examples show these stages. The color of Summer's earlobe is the color of an early stage hematoma or bruise. So what on earth happened to little Summer on or right before
I think it
June
looks like
15th,
on her other side of the
2021
head.
to cause her ear?
Okay, hold on. She points out a lot of this stuff, but what really amazes me, hold on, also this.
I wonder what Summer had on her feet, since it looks like she has shoes on.
Those
in
are
the
the shoes that were
screenshot
in
I
the
got
yard.
from the TikTok video. I guess that will just be another piece of this million-piece puzzle.
Okay, hold on.
If that was the only reason, why is there the video while they were driving? which was when Grandma Candy allegedly meant to...
Yeah, she's saying, why is there pictures taken and a video?
See, Summer's right arm is pinched between the milk and her body, her torso. So how were her arms up, like Candace said?
They were not.
That
She
doesn't
couldn't
make
get them
sense.
down like that. But anyways, I want something else. I just want to, I believe. Let me go back here.
This during the beginning of this video, and I told you we'd come back to it, and here we are. I said during that time that this doesn't look like Summer spilled her orange Fanta soda on herself. In my opinion, this spot is too dark for that. When crime scene investigators look at a bloody crime scene, they refer to blood as a reddish-brown stain or spot. And that's exactly what I would call this spot. We can only see the lower part of this blood spot. The lap belt is covering the rest of it. What could cause this rather large spot? Has her jacket absorbed all of this blood from a laceration on Summer's tummy? Is it possible that Summer was bleeding from her pelvic area and her pants are saturated with blood? And with the lap belt pressing her jacket against her pants, the blood has been absorbed by the jacket from her pants. Now, I know from my knowledge in the medical field and first aid, anytime someone is bleeding, you use some kind of cloth to press against the wounded area. And if the blood starts to soak through that item, you don't remove it. You keep layering it with more cloth. Looking at the location of this partial spot that we can see, I'd say the top of Summer's pants is under this lap belt, pressed against her jacket because of the lap belt. If we take a closer look at the lap belt, it looks like this blood has absorbed into it also.
Yep.
I've drawn a line along the edge of the darker area that I see on the lap belt to show you what I see here. Now, if we move to the left just a bit, just under this lap belt right here, is this a dark shadow or is it more blood? Let me know what you think. There's many ways that this blood could have gotten on Summer's tummy. I do believe that it is her own blood. I believe I have an idea of where this blood is coming from. But I want you to tell me your theory. And I'll share my theory one day soon. We only have a couple things left that I'm going to focus on.
And this is important.
Let's move down to Summer's hands.
Yes.
In way more detail now than just placement, which we discussed already earlier. I showed how Summer's right hand possibly slid down the side of her right leg onto the seat, but I didn't show how her left hand looks. So let me pop the video image back up and notice on her left hand, her thumb and index finger are moved from the video to the picture. I don't believe that this was due to gravity. I believe Summer's hands and even her legs look swollen.
I do too.
If we zoom in on Summer's hands and
her
both
legs
the picture
really look
and
swollen.
the video image, you can see how both hands have moved. If I put the video on top of the picture and line it up the best I can, we can see the right hand is moved the most. Her index finger and thumb are moved on her left hand, but just slightly. As we look at the video image over the picture like this, I notice that the blood spot looks bigger in the picture, in my opinion. And that would also support my theory that the video was done first. It shows me that the blood is Summer's, in my opinion, and that it's coming from her body, in my opinion. What do you think? This is my first time doing this layover technique.
Okay, now I want you to get to her nails now. Okay.
There's been many speculations about what this is, like dirt or nail polish. So I went to
It's
Google
not nail
again
polish.
and looked through many pictures. I was looking for hands to see if I could find any fingernails that looked like this and why. I found a few pictures of people who had posted their nails with a blue tint, but it seemed that it was due to lack of oxygen and circulation. And then I came across these pictures. Now this is a trigger warning. These are pictures of JonBenet Ramsey at her home after her father, John Ramsey, carried her up to the living room. There were a few pictures of her hands due to the marking on the palm of her hand, but I immediately noticed her nails. Look at JonBenet's nails. In every picture that I could find of her, she either has no polish on her nails or she has a red color. She never has her fingernails painted black, blue, or purple. JonBenet was just 6 years old at the time of her murder in 1996. If I put these pictures of JonBenet's hands beside Summer Wells' hands, what do you think? I know that there has been so much debate on if Summer is alive, deceased, or in between. Now that you've seen this comparison with JonBenet and Summer side by side, what do you think? Okay, I have just 2 more things that I want to point out before we end this video. I know that this is so much to take in. I haven't ever seen anyone else go. I saw multiple faces, and I'll leave the link.
Okay.
No wipers on.
That's what I was trying to get.
Now look at the back window. It does have some residue on it, but remember, I showed earlier that there's 2 windows here.
Okay, so she talks about that. So I know this video is going long. You guys, I'm sorry. I don't care who wants to argue with me. I don't care who wants to get mad at me. But I see all kinds of bruises on Summer. It's not just dirt. It's dirt, yes, but it's also bruises. And to me, Summer looked deceased in the back of that vehicle. You know, maybe not to you, but she looked like she was in not good shape to me. She didn't look like she was breathing to me. And I don't know. That's just my opinion. But she's had a lot of bruises, and I wanted to remind everyone how neglected Summer Wells really was. And it makes me upset when these defenders of the Wells want to defend them and say, oh no, she wasn't neglected, she wasn't abused, she was just loved. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I feel sorry for Summer Wells. I feel like she did get smacked around a lot. I feel like she got disciplined and they were mean to her. Maybe not Don, but I believe Candace was. But look at Don said, all he had to do was say a word and she would cry. Now listen to me, you guys. I had a really mean stepfather when I was a little girl. And whenever he would say anything to me, I would cry. Because I was scared to death of him. Scared to death. And it makes me feel like Don makes it seem like Summer loved him so much. But, you know, I'm not really sure about that, you guys. But I do find it interesting that even Aaron Mull thinks this was staged, planned, because why would you need to take pictures and videos? And also, I believe, like Spirit Seeker Squad, that's the name of her channel, and the name of this video is Summer Wells updated picture versus video details you might want to see. But it's Spirit Seeker Squad. But, you know, I believe her that she was placed in that vehicle and she was propped up on those milk jugs. I believe that Summer went through a lot of very, very bad abuse. And people don't want to see it or say it, but I'll say it, and it's just my opinion. I mean, they lost all of their children now to the state. All Summer Wells' brothers and sisters gone. And I don't care what people say. When you have a criminal past, it has everything to do with your future. And if you've abused children in your past, you're probably, most likely, I bet you, I'll put $100 on a bingo card like Chris says, that child, that they're going to abuse these children. So, and they did. And we've heard it from multiple witnesses that they did abuse these children. But anyways, you guys, I just wanted to bring this reminder to you. And you can share it with the defenders of all these, of the Wells, all these little defenders always want to argue with other creators or cut them down or say crap. So, I love you guys. I thank you for being here. Let me know in the comments what you think. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. God bless you. I love you guys. Take it easy. Good night.